2 seconds. Thing. Yeah, we're live. Cool. So the call today, and thank you, Sarah, for the inspiration for this one. Talking about where does fat loss come from? Talking about cardio, strength training, why we focus on what we do, and what are the things that actually cause fat loss? What are the things that people think cause fat loss, and what is like what's actually gonna help? So. Yeah, housekeeping cameras on if you are here and you're happy to. Any questions, put them in the chat and I'll try and stay across them. I might end up missing them, but we'll do a Q&A at the end anyway to go into any other bits in more detail or anything like around like your individual programs or anything. And yeah, we are recording. So, some of the common misconceptions around cardio for fat loss. So, I know a lot of you might have thought before that, and I think just loads of people in general, when they're new to fat loss, they assume that the more calories that they burn, the more fat that they lose. And we're gonna get onto this, but as you hopefully know by now, like total daily calorie burn matters so much more than what you do within the one isolated session on its own. And like you said, his strength training is going to boost your metabolism for 24, 48 hours after. Cardio, you'll get in the calorie burn in the session, but not really anything after it. So, and again, like cardio, people think it's the best way to lose fat. And again, like so much research now into like strength training showing equal or better fat loss than cardio. Um, and obviously with less muscle loss as well, which is again something that I'll get onto, but more cardio, too much of it can end up impacting the type of fat, the type of the mass that you're losing. So, and the other thing is I thought I'd throw in here, lifting weights makes women bulky because I know again it's like a big fear for a lot of women when they start out in the gym or when they think about or they hear about lifting weights immediately your mind goes to that's not for me. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to get big or bulky. And lifting weights definitely doesn't do that. The bulky look comes always from higher fat mass, like excess fat, rather than muscle mass. So, and that's the other thing as well. Like, obviously, women testosterone levels are nowhere near a man for most women. So, the chances of building any significant muscle is so hard anyway. And for a lot of us guys, we're trying really hard, eating loads of food, and even we won't pack on loads of mass all the time. So it definitely won't be doing that, but it will be making you leaner and not necessarily bigger. So yeah, the thing around strength training, what it's doing after the sessions is boosting your metabolism in the 24, 48 hours after the training. So in the isolated cardio session that you do, it burns calories within the session itself, but then you're not after you've done it, that's it. After strength training, your metabolism is going up alongside your build like over time you're building that lean mass anyway. And over time, that's what's helping to increase just your your basal metabolic rate, the amount of calories that you're burning at rest. So you end up burning more calories without even doing anything. 3 times more fat retained when cardio replaces strength training. I can't remember what was the reason behind this one. I think like because if you're doing cardio without strength training, especially if it's higher intensity cardio, it's increasing your fatigue, increasing the stress on the body. Higher stress leads to more cortisol, and that can then in turn lead to fat gain. I think that's something that I'll get onto a bit later on. And again, same thing, like 10 to 30 times less testosterone in women versus men, and obviously that's the main driver of muscle growth. But probably like one of the most important points is that weight loss does not always mean fat loss. And for a lot of us, for a lot of you maybe, it's the number on the scale is the most easy way of judging some kind of progress. And it can be nice obviously when the goal is fat loss to get leaner, it's nice to keep on seeing that drop on the scale. But it's also important to remember that weight loss doesn't necessarily mean fat loss. You can drop weight on the scale, but it might not be the weight that you want in the same way that your weight might stay the same, but you could drop the fat. You might be building lean muscle at the same time. So it's not just about losing weight in isolation. And it then comes down to what are the things that you're focusing on with with your nutrition, with your training, obviously still being in that deficit, but then also measuring how is your progress changing over time as well. So yeah, pros and cons of cardio. First thing, I don't want this to come across as me saying there's no point in doing cardio because it definitely has its place, but for fat loss in isolation, cardio is not the thing for fat loss. What it is good for is like I'll put it here, like it burns calories in the session, but the cons your body will try, especially if it's higher intensity cardio, your body will try and compensate for the calories that you've burned by moving less throughout the rest of the day. And as you'll probably know, when you've done a hard cardio session, your hunger is going to increase. You're going to probably end up eating more calories, moving less in the rest of the day. So your overall net calorie burn stays about the same. Um, Obviously, the big thing, like it's good for cardiovascular health, massive for longevity. So it's so important in that sense. It helps to improve mood and energy, and yeah, heart health as well. So it should be part of any plan just for general overall health, but it's not going to be the main driver behind fat loss. And yeah, the cons, no calorie burn after after you've done the session. There's no extra calorie burn, your body will adapt to the cardio that you're doing and burn less calories over time as you do it. Too much cardio, again, if it's high intensity cardio, can have an impact on muscle mass. So obviously, when you're trying to build that lean muscle, too much cardio can, to an extent, offset the muscle that you're building, especially if sessions are too close together. You don't give your body the recovery that it needs. And yeah, but here again, like the high volumes of cardio increase cortisol because obviously it's a pretty big stress on the body. It's high intensity, and cortisol in turn can lead, if it's constantly raised, can lead to increased fat storage over time. And yeah, kind of said it again here. High intensity cardio means body conserves energy after, less movement after it, more hunger means that for fat loss alone, there's not really any net benefit to doing the cardio for that. But like I said, it's not to say not do it for the right reasons, not don't do it expecting like fat loss on its own. So now why strength training for fat loss? Like you all probably know, the big thing is that strength training, what it's helping to do is building lean muscle, increasing your metabolism at rest, you're burning calories, even when you're not doing anything. It's burning calories 24, 48 hours after a workout. So it's increasing your calorie burn when you're not even having to do anything. Another big thing is that when you're cutting calories, your body is, if you have any lean mass already, obviously like everyone has a certain like baseline of it, but in a deficit, if you're not keeping up the strength training, your body is so much more likely to pull from the lean mass if you're not doing anything to try and preserve it. So obviously alongside protein intake as well, which is the other huge thing. Strength training is going to help you at least just maintain the lean mass that you have. If you're newer to strength training, newer to the gym and all the stuff, you can to a certain extent build lean mass at the same time as dropping fat. But at a minimum, when we're in a calorie deficit, the goal is mainly to maintain the lean muscle that we have and then drop the fat. And like I said, without the strength training, the body wants to take, it's easier for the body to take mass from the muscle rather than the fat. Other things improved insulin sensitivity and better body composition versus cardio alone. It's building the lean muscles, helping you look better, look leaner, look firmer, and definitely not bulky. The bulky look will come from more fat, always not too much muscle. And yeah, cons, and these aren't like bad things. The scales might not drop immediately. I think it's on the or on one of the next slides. Um, why it's a whole other topic, but why not focus on the scales as your only measure of progress? Because the scale is made up of so many different things. And like I said, you can lose weight, but not necessarily lose fat, or you could keep the same scale weight and still lose fat at the same time. So it's as hard as it is, learning to be less obsessed over the number on the scale and using more metrics to measure your progress over time beyond that number on its own. The next thing, obviously, technique matters. I know, I think Amy in the group saying about like the boy bit in the air, in boy bit in the gym, like the scary part of the gym where it's harder to go into, especially for women. You don't want to go or like don't naturally want to go into that part of the gym because typically it's seen as the bit where all the guys go and women just don't want to go to it at first. And it can, if you're newer to the gym, it can take time first just to get into the environment, but then secondly to get into that area where you probably are or might be a minority, but it's just believing that you can be there, that you do deserve to be there, that you are good enough to be there, and it's that will come just from doing it when it feels uncomfortable. Put the reps in when you don't like go into that area when you don't really feel like it. Over time, the more and more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it, and once you start seeing the progress, the results from what you're doing, you then it just becomes that much easier. Um, Progress can to an extent feel slower visibly at first, but saying that when you start strength training, chances are you'll see for a lot of people like fairly good gains early on, and then they can plateau over time. It kind of all depends on the starting point. It does obviously require consistency over weeks to see change, whereas you could chase a load of cardio, cut calories, you can lose a load of weight in a really short space of time. But the big thing here is that it's all about that kind of that type of weight that you want to lose and the type of weight that you want to keep. And it's not about quick fixes. It's not about hitting a certain number on the scale and leaving it there. It's about building a routine that you can sustain, that you can stick to, and also building a body that you feel confident and comfortable in, where you've got energy. And it might take time, but it's just being in it for the long run, accepting it's going to take time, but that's what makes it worth it. And obviously the soreness as well, which is probably most in what is most in the first few weeks. It will come down over time. There's always going to be, or quite often going to be, always going to be a level of soreness. You will, if you're doing the same sort of things, your body will get used to it, and it's more likely to then come in if we're switching up the programs going for different things. But soreness is part of it. I know for some people it's worse than others, but for most of us, we get used to it, and you over time start to enjoy it. You know that you get the soreness, you've had a good session, so in a way, it's a nice thing to have. Um, and yeah, again, like why strength should come first in any fat loss plan. Every pound of muscle that you have in your body is burning more calories than fat. Is something like I can't remember the exact numbers. But yeah, muscle is increasing your metabolic rates. You're burning calories just not in just in a session, but beyond it. The amount of calories that you burn after a session increases is way higher compared to cardio, where it's not really. Um, the big thing, body composition is way more important than the number on the scale. So it's starting to shift how you see your progress beyond that one number. And like it said, like I put here, like two women can weigh the same but look completely different because muscle is denser than fat. It's changing your shape, not necessarily the number. And I think Sarah will probably relate a lot to this because I know like since we started, it's not like the scale changed massively, but like body composition wise, you can see like the changes is huge. And yeah, protects your metabolism, long term because crash dieting, excess, too much cardio breaks down your muscle more, lowers your metabolic rate, and it's just it's not going to be sustainable long term. So, like I said, this isn't to say don't do cardio because it's huge for overall like heart health, mood, energy, all of that stuff. But it's the thing on top. It's the extra, not the like main core of what should be part of your um plan. The biggest thing, the best type of cardio that you can do is like getting your steps in. I say it all the time. Getting 8 to 10K minimum steps every day is going to be the single most effective form of cardio for fat loss because it's low intensity. It's not going to spike cardio. It's not like it's not going to require any kind of like recovery really, and increasing your NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, all the calories that you burn in the rest of the day, and that can easily add up to way more than what you burn in a workout. And yeah, like a short cardio session 2, 3 times a week can help to nudge that deficit up slightly, but we don't want to do so much cardio to the point where it's impairing your recovery, impairing the progress that you're looking to make from the strength training. So it's fine to do a little bit of it. If you are busy and struggling to make time for anything, it's the sort of thing where it's that maybe top like 5, 10, 20%, but it's not the essential thing. So it's that like just extra thing on top. But the most important thing, just get your steps in, get your daily activity up, go outside and do that rather than slogging away on a treadmill or whatever the thing is for you. And yeah, when does it become too much? So looking for about 2, 3 sessions a week, 20, 30 minutes, moderate intensity, so it's not going to require massive recovery. You're not going to get too hungry after it. 7 to 10K steps daily as a minimum, and then at least three strength sessions per week. But obviously, if you can do 4, if you can do 5 sessions a week, then that's also good. Too much daily cardio with no strength training, 60 to 90-minute sessions repeatedly. If you're doing that every single day, it's just so hard for the body to recover from that. Training twice daily to compensate for food. Again, it's just so much stress on the body that you just can't, it's just so hard to recover from. And then using cardio to earn or burn off meals because the calories that you might think you burn in a cardio session, like I said before, your movement in the time after you've done the cardio, the calories you burn in the time after doing it, and then your intake of food, if and when you get hungrier, which you probably will, is gonna probably like offset that to some extent anyway. So that's that. And again, I think I've kind of covered this. Why so much cardio works against you. Too much cardio is especially for like long distance runners. it the body wants to take more fuel from the muscles rather than the fat, which again makes fat loss harder when you don't have that muscle, when your metabolism is then lower. Same thing with cortisol, and the studies have shown that high cortisol chronically over time, with where you're just constantly under stress, both from what you're doing day to day, but then also from your training. If it's giving your body so much stress and you can't recover from it, it's that much more likely to lead to fat storage, especially around the midsection where none of us want it. Same thing with increased hunger, driving hunger a lot, and yeah, wiping out the deficit that you tried to create. And recovery as well. Your muscles can't repair and grow, which is then knocking on to like limiting the benefits of the lifting. So, what a week should or could look like. I know we've got like all your own individual programs, but as a baseline minimum, strength training 3 times a week, 3 to 5 is ideal. Obviously, giving your body the rest that it needs between sessions. So if it is like a full body split, you could do that across like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, giving your body a day of rest in between. So never train the same muscle group on back-to-back days. If it was 4 days, say like Monday, Tuesday, upper lower, then rest on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, upper lower. However it works best for you, whatever fits your schedule. And like I said, we've all got this in like in your programs anyway. But then if you have like rest days or days off, use those to get your steps in. Cardio, if you want to, you can do if you really want to like do like higher intensity cardio, it's like good, it can be good for you once or twice a week. But then always making sure that you have like 1 or 2 days in the week to properly rest, switch off, and just give your body recovery. And yeah, I think it's fine. It's life. Stop doing more, start doing better. More cardio is not the answer. And again, not to avoid it, but not be relying on it for fat loss because it's not the thing that's gonna drive fat loss. Strength training is what is going to help you look leaner, firmer, protect metabolism, and give you the results that you actually want, which is the fat loss, which on its own will not come from just the cardio. So it's about finding that balance with the strength training, focusing on the right things that are going to get the results that you want. So I think that's it. So yeah, we can go to any questions or anything based on that, or just any questions in general. So I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Joe. That was really useful in lots of ways. I think I've probably um I still feel I don't think my ache soreness goes away after a few weeks. I'm still feeling it, but then I recognise that with changes in the program as well at certain phases where things have been changed up. Um, and just really I don't I just because of that sort of muscle injury I've had, I've been doing a little bit less cardio, but I want to build that back in. But then I'm just mindful of some I'd like an ideal workout plan, like the way you've just demonstrated at the end, but I seem to cram mine into 4 days and rest for three. So do you think that's detrimental?
So as you are at the moment doing, you're doing like upper lower, Monday to Thursday, and then 3 days off type thing. I
Yeah.
mean, how after you've done like, on a Wednesday, after you've done your say Monday upper, you go into your Wednesday upper. How sore are you feeling going into that?
Well, that depends on a PT session.
Right.
And um I guess working between the muscle groups really helps. So I see that some days I feel sore, but then going into the gym and doing a different workout and pushing through a different muscle group, but then I've following that, I've then got a full body soreness or something. But I know it's just something we have to work through, age, whatever, ability. But I do, and like you say with the metrics, I do see the progress over time. I think it's just a case of being patient. But sometimes I've got that plateau on the scales where I don't think weight is shifting, but definitely shape is changing. So the one's cancelling the other one out. So I'm just trying to stick with it. But anyway,
Yeah. It is hard if you don't have like a number that you can see you're progressing. Because I know in progress visibly, it's hard. I think for any of us, it's hard to like see it in ourselves in the progress. It almost like it takes someone else to see it and other people to like comment on it for you to realize that things actually are changing. I don't know if you found that.
oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely is changing. So slow and steady wins the race, I guess. Keep going.
And definitely obviously like sleep as well for you, like because that's sleep is like the main thing that's your recovery. And without that, it's so much harder for the body to recover because that's the main time that you're going to be like after you've done training, you're recovering, you're building that lean muscle. If you're not getting that recovery from it, it's harder to build the muscle and drop the fat. And when you get less sleep, it's increasing cortisol again and like making it that much more likely to hold on to fat. But certain things we can't control and doing what we can. I think 4 days is probably the sweet spot. I think any more than that, it's probably just pushing too much, and your body won't be able to like recover and get the benefits from what you're doing. But I think as long as you're feeling okay going into that like second upper day, second lower day, and not like crawling into the gym, for now, I'd say you'd be right.
Thank you.
Sophie, you free chat?
Hello. That was really useful. Thank you. Um, so I read a lot of different stuff about kind of if you are going to do a bit of a mix of cardio and strength. As you know, I like to spend as long as possible at the gym as many times in the week as I can. So my understanding recently was sort of if you were to do strength training and then maybe like half an hour like incline quick walk, that's kind of one, it's kind of stretching you out, because I'm also really bad at stretching. But two, it almost like kickstart, like it's a good tool for fat loss, but it sort of accelerates what you've done in strength. So it's sort of like getting the best of both worlds. Is that the case?
Like when you've done, so you've done your strength training, going into the cardio, and what this is like fairly like high intensity incline.
Um, no, it's well, maybe like 10 or something. Yeah, probably is quite high. um, yeah, like so I kind of find that quite useful as a sort of stretch, almost like cool down. Because I find the strength training harder than the cardio. And I feel like really achy if I just finish on strength training. And yeah, then I'm kind of weirdly hungry all day if I just do strength training. But I find that if I do a bit of cardio, then I'm less hungry throughout the day. I think maybe I'm just weird.
Oh, you get less
Um,
hungry.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's strange. Um, but yeah, is there like a potential danger in doing that if it's not like super high intensity, or is it kind of undoing the work that you've done in the strength training?
I think it's not necessarily a bad thing if you want to do your um if you feel it helps you after doing strength training,
Mhm.
after doing strength training. I think if you're looking for like the maximum benefit out of the strength training, I would say try and just do like a lower intensity like bout of cardio after, and then do your cardio like in the evening or just like later at a different time, because of like the strength training is creating inflammation in the body. If the intensity of the cardio is then high after that, that can almost like offset and override the inflammation from the strength training, and like you want that inflammation from the lifting weights, which is what like prompts the recovery. So as far as I know, it shouldn't like impact it massively. If your goal is to get the most out of the strength and the building muscle, then try and separate them if you can.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's mixed things out there. So
cool. No, that's
yeah.
really helpful. Thank
Hmm.
you. Yeah, I think Sarah just put something on the chat saying there's lots of stuff about yeah on social media with doom
Like
scrolling. So I think I fall into that trap too.
I know it's everywhere, the incline, yeah, cardio, the
Yeah,
whatever types of cardio.
yeah. Whatever I fancy doing this week.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank you.
that's all right. Lisa, I see you're lurking. You there? Lisa, are you there or are you hiding? Multitasking. That's cool. Yeah, no, if that's it for the questions. We can leave it there. In terms of like training this week or like this week, last couple of weeks, any any wins, any struggles, like any main wins or struggles from yeah, past 1, 2 weeks, or training or nutrition or anything?
I'd say I'm getting better at like listening to my body a little bit because I
Good.
do have a bit of a habit of just pushing myself and then ending up unable to do anything for a long time. So I kind of actually forced myself to take a rest day yesterday. Um, yeah, and I did feel a bit more energetic this morning than I might do normally on a Thursday. So yeah, I'm gonna try and actually give myself a midweek break, I think. Maybe on a Tuesday and like shift everything further
It's good.
forward.
Sarah, getting your water in. So your mic, you're muted.
Doing better.
Better.
Yeah.
What we on, roughly?
Mm,
Day.
2.5, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Improvement.
Yeah. Lots of quick dashes to the loo. That's the downside.
Good sign. But yeah, no, I think if that's it for the questions, we can leave it there. Like I said before, I'll keep running these weekly, and each one will base around like a different topic. If there's any like main things that everyone's struggling with, or any new ideas that come, then yeah, I'm gonna cover that. But yeah, no, it's good to yeah, good to see you all tonight. And I'll leave again, we'll do a poll for next week. It might be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see whatever time and day is most popular. But yeah, hope you all have a good rest of your day and see you in the gym soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
mate.
you. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.